This is the Jasion Thunder Electric Bike. My honest first take. It looks bold, it feels heavy-duty, and it promises a lot on paper. Big battery, fat tires, hydraulic brakes, app control, and a 400-pound payload rating. I've put real miles on it, through city streets, bike paths, and a couple of short, steep climbs. I've hauled groceries, rode at night, pushed the top speed, and tore it down enough to see how it's put together. There's plenty to like, and a few things that had me raising an eyebrow more than once. Key features you'll care about: a 48-volt 18-amp-hour battery, that's 864 watt-hour, a hub motor with claimed high peak output and 85 newton-meters of torque, 26 by 4-inch fat tires, a step-through high-carbon steel frame, dual 180mm hydraulic disc brakes, front suspension, Shimano 7-speed, an LCD display, built-in horn and turn signals, and an app that lets you lock the bike and check stats. The frame is rated to 400 pounds, and the bike itself weighs about 82 pounds, so it's a beast. That step-through design helps a lot when you're swinging a leg over with bags or winter layers on. Unboxing and setup on my unit were mostly straightforward. It came largely assembled, but I still did the usual: bars, front wheel, pedals, rack alignment, plus a full bolt check with a torque wrench. From my experience, that's not optional for an e-bike this fast and heavy. I also checked spoke tension and brake alignment before the first ride. Two quality notes popped out. My handlebar post had the same hairline scuff I've seen in photos from other owners. Same spot, same pattern, which tells me it's happening somewhere in the assembly line or packaging. Also, the rear light wire was a touch short, forcing me to reroute it to avoid strain on the connector. Neither issue killed the ride, but it's a sign the factory needs a tighter eye on the details. On the road, the Thunder feels planted and stable. The 4-inch tires soak up chatter and roll over pothole lips without drama. The front suspension isn't plush, but it takes the edge off enough to keep wrists happy. The step-through frame is easy to mount and dismount at traffic lights. The LCD display is bright in daylight and shows speed, trip info, and live motor watts, which I loved because it helps you see how hard the system is working. The app connected fast for me. I used it to lock the bike outside a cafe and to check battery percentage before heading home. Speed-wise, with pedal assist on the higher levels, it has no trouble pulling past the mid-20s on flat pavement, and with a bit of effort, I saw just over 28 miles per hour. Acceleration is punchy from a stop, and the throttle picks up cleanly. This is a cadence sensor setup, which means the motor kicks in when your crank is turning rather than how hard you're pushing. It's beginner-friendly, but it can feel on-off compared to torque sensors that measure pedal pressure. If you want smooth, natural-feeling assist that mirrors your effort, you might wish it had a torque sensor. If you want easy power without thinking, cadence works fine. Climbing was where the shine dulled for me. I tested a short 10% grade with a heavy load. It climbed it, but the speed sagged and the motor felt like it hit a sustained power ceiling. Marketing numbers throw around different peaks depending on where you read, but the important thing is sustained output. In my opinion, the Thunder is quick on flats and gentle hills, and it will climb moderate grades, but if you're a heavier rider trying to grind steep hills routinely, manage your expectations. I had to drop gears and keep cadence up to stay in the motor's sweet spot. Braking deserves its own moment. Dual 180mm hydraulic discs should inspire confidence. Mine did not at first. The lever feel out of the box was soft, with weak initial bite. That bite is the instant grab you want the moment the pads touch the rotor, especially at 25 to 30 miles per hour. I bled the lines and bedded the pads properly. That's the process of doing a series of controlled stops to transfer pad material to the rotors. After that, performance improved a lot, but I still had to start braking earlier than I'm used to on a fast e-bike. If you're new to hydraulics, they use fluid, not cables, so they should feel firm and stay consistent. Air in the line or poorly bedded pads can make them feel spongy and weak. From my experience, plan on doing a full bed in and be ready to bleed them or have a shop do it. At this speed, you don't want to guess. Night riding was a mixed bag. The headlight is bright, but the beam pattern on mine was wide and thin, almost like an underscore. It lights up a broad stripe but doesn't throw a lot of depth down the road. At 20 miles per hour, it's fine. Near top speed, I wanted more vertical coverage to spot dips, sticks, and potholes early. The integrated brake light and turn signals are great for traffic though, and I use them constantly to tell drivers what I was doing. Range is always the hot topic. The brand claims up to 80 miles under ideal conditions. With my weight, mixed terrain, cooler temps, and mostly PAS 2 to 3, I got between 25 and 40 miles per charge. Light rider, low assist, flat route, sure, you can stretch it. But I'd plan your rides around that 25 to 40 window if you like some pep and don't want to baby the throttle. Charging from low to full took me about 7 to 8 hours. If your commute pushes past 20 miles round trip with hills, you'll want a charger at work or ride at lower assist. Build quality is where I started to have some reservations. The frame welds on my bike look rough. I'm not a frame builder, but I've handled enough e-bikes to know when beads look rushed or thin. On a high carbon steel frame that claims 400 pounds of payload and a 28 plus miles per hour top speed, clean, substantial welds matter. I'm not saying it's unsafe, but in my opinion, the finish here doesn't match the performance story the motor and battery are telling. I also noticed the same recurring cosmetic scuffs other owners posted, which tells me these aren't random shipping dings. I've kept an eye on the owner community, and I've seen more than one report of early mechanical issues, bent wheels out of the box, chain snapping, wiring rubbing a tire, and one credible account of a front wheel coming loose. That's the kind of stuff that made me triple check axle nuts, use a torque wrench, add a dab of medium thread locker on critical fasteners, and inspect cable runs so nothing rubs. If you're brand new to bikes, none of that is fun. If you wrench a little, it's a Saturday. The company's support to me was parts forward. They shipped what I needed and expected me to handle the labor. That model keeps the bike affordable, but it also assumes you've got the tools and confidence. If you don't, factor in a shop visit. Not everything was frustrating. The 7-speed drivetrain shifted smoothly out of the box and stayed quiet after a few rides. The step-through frame is genuinely practical. The big tires make gravel connectors and beat-up city streets feel less stressful, and I appreciated that I could load the rear rack without the bike feeling twitchy. The 7-in-1 switchgear is intuitive, the horn got driver's attention, and the app lock gave me peace of mind during quick stops. My unit included UL 2849 markings and documentation, which, in my opinion, is important for battery and system safety. I still store and charge it responsibly, but that certification is reassuring. So who is this for? It's perfect for someone who wants a fast, rugged-feeling fat tire e-bike at a fair price and isn't afraid to get hands-on. If you're comfortable checking spoke tension, torquing bolts, bedding brakes, and tidying cable runs, the Thunder can be a fun, powerful daily. It's also a good fit for bigger riders or people hauling cargo who value a step-through layout. If you want a quiet life with zero tinkering, if you rely on your bike for daily commuting without backup, or if steep hills are your every ride reality, this might test your patience. From my experience, the real strengths are stability, comfort on rough pavement, straight-line speed, and the practical touches like signals, horn, app lock, and a big battery. The weak points are brake feel out of the box, the headlight beam pattern at higher speeds, inconsistent cosmetic quality, and a power curve that doesn't love long, steep climbs with a heavy load. Range claims are optimistic unless you ride gently. I'd recommend this for riders who enjoy dialing in a machine and want big tire confidence with step-through convenience. If you're the person friends call to adjust derailleurs and bed brakes, you'll have this sorted in an afternoon and enjoy the torque and stability. If you're brand new and just want to ride, I'd steer you towards something with a torque sensor, lighter weight, and a proven QC track record, or at least budget a shop setup to make sure every fastener, rotor, and cable is perfect before your first real ride. In conclusion, the Jasion Thunder hits hard on value and features, but it asks you to meet it halfway on setup and safety checks. The speed and comfort are real, the battery is generous, and the frame layout is user-friendly. The QC quirks and braking setup kept me cautious until I tuned it, and the hill performance under heavy load is limited compared to what the raw numbers might suggest. If you're okay with that trade, you'll probably be happy. If not, keep shopping. If this video helped, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with your questions or your experience with the Thunder. Thank you for watching.